There is no shame being an independent contractor, and I'm going to talk about that on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, or if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, hey, thanks for coming by. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. What I'm about to share is not a new topic. In fact, what I'm about to share is really a debated topic in some circles of the YouTube sphere among gig delivery drivers. You have individuals who've actually gone as far as deriding people like myself as facing extinction. We're dinosaurs because we refuse to adapt, at least what they say, and therefore we are facing extinction and that we will be left behind. Why are people like myself being called dinosaurs? Well, even worse, some say that we're haters, we're jealous, we are always complaining, and we're pissed off at those, particularly on the DoorDash app, because they are boasting of success, having chosen to perform the role of a Tony Zhu employee. Now, what do I mean by that? Performing the role of a Tony Zhu employee. There's what's called the Accept More, Earn More program. And then there's what I call the mining for carbon crystals for the purpose of gathering additional data for artificial intelligence and proving and disproving complex mathematical computations and predictions for the purpose of machine learning. Translated, we're talking about diamond zones and accept more, earn more, or earn by time. Now, translated, there are a number of people out there who have boasted of an affinity for having performed the role of a Tony Zhu employee. I'm not one of them. I have been on record very consistently as calling earn by time and mining for carbon crystals yet another ploy by Tony Zhu to manipulate drivers into accepting more orders. In fact, that is DoorDash's goal. What some have shown, and they are very sincere about it, is that they have made more money. They feel that they've gotten a steady flow of orders, a steady flow of quality orders, and they are doing better. Well, I have shown the contrary of accepting less orders and working multiple apps or stacking multiple orders across multiple apps, that still works, and I have made more money than they have. In fact, I've shown, based on the common unit of measurement, which is average dollars earned per completed order on the DoorDash app, that my strategy works better. It pays more. Now, just for review's sake, what is earned by time? Earned by time is DoorDash's method of offering a driver the opportunity to make a base amount per hour and that they keep all the tips. Okay. One of the benefits, at least it works into the other strategy by DoorDash, is that as you do earn by time, if you stay in that mode in which you can only decline one order per hour to remain in earn by time pay mode. But in the process, if you stay in that, you're going to improve your acceptance rate, which would allow you to graduate into another thing, which would be the mining for carbon crystals or diamond zone, if that is in your market. And to qualify for diamond zone type opportunities, you must maintain at least a 50% higher or a 50% or higher acceptance rate. And then you receive priority for what is higher paying orders. DoorDash never defines what is that dollar amount, but it does say that these orders should pay at least $1.50 per mile. Then, if your acceptance rate graduates to 70% or higher, you should receive even higher priority for higher paying orders. And so these are the people whom I've seen with acceptance rates of 80% or higher, saying that they've really seen a big improvement, a much better quality of orders. Now, I am quite the opposite. I decline more than 80% of my orders. In fact, I have shown where I've done even better when I've declined more than 90% of my orders. While I have been a consistent, somewhat a detractor of Tony Zhu's manipulations and strategies of trying to entice drivers into accepting more orders, the other thing that really I would say that is at the core, at the very basis of my content, is how I am a very adamant advocate of the independent contractor. I am an advocate of drivers exercising their right as independent contractors to either accept every order, but more so decline every order. And so there is no shame being an independent contractor when you do decline orders, as I do and many others. We choose not to accept all that. We choose not to go along with the program statuses just for the illusion thereof. The other thing is that in the process of accepting less, earning more, the other thing that I advocate as an independent contractor is the right to work as many apps as you can, and even stacking multiple orders across multiple apps, because you are actually operating as a true independent contractor, someone who is in business for yourself when you do work multiple apps and stack multiple orders across multiple apps. The reason that you're operating that way is because you are now accepting the best order, you're accepting the best order, the best paying offer that comes across your screen at that given moment. And if you're accepting the best orders or the best offers at that given moment, you're going to make more money than somebody who is accepting all the orders. Now, another thing I want to share before I go any further with this segment of the Gig Geezer is that in order to maintain a higher acceptance rate, you've got to accept. You're not going to see a steady stream of premium paying orders. You're just not. You're going to see some lower paying orders. While you may not see the rock bottom bad ones that I see, you're still going to see a steady stream of those type of orders. And so you're not averaging $15 to $20 per completed order as I am. The dollar amount that I've often seen is more like anywhere between $10 and $15. The fact is that when you accept all those orders, you're not going to average as much per completed order as someone like myself. And I use the average amount per completed order as a very common unit of measurement to make comparisons. You can't do it just based on the money that you make total. You always have to, when you're trying to make certain statistical comparisons, you have to find a common unit. The common unit is not always money earned. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Now, this strategy that I'm talking of, accepting less and earning more, working multiple orders across multiple apps, stacking multiple orders across multiple apps. Now, we are being derided as facing extinction, when in fact the very basis of gig economy work is someone who is an independent contractor who is allowed to accept or decline any order that comes across their screen from that app. Not to mention, it is the very basis of definition when you look at these independent contractor agreements. All of them say you can accept or decline every order. All of them say that you can accept or decline any order. Not to mention, they all say that you're not an employee of that company. You are, in fact, an independent contractor, and you're not answering up to any supervisors. They all say that in their contracts. However, yet it is our responsibility, once we accept those orders, to complete them in a safe and timely manner. Now, I've also been on record as saying, if I worked only the DoorDash app, or if I worked a limited number of apps, including DoorDash, I may have a different conversation, because then I am boxing myself into a corner to where I have to maybe work things according to the way Tony Zhu would like for me to work. But because I work multiple apps, it is not incumbent upon me to do things as Tony Zhu would like for me to do. Now, that said, I have also mentioned on many occasions that I've been involved in the gig economy since September 2016, and that I began in the gig economy doing rideshare. I ventured into doing food delivery, and then later I then ventured into doing last mile delivery work from gig apps in 2018, and then I added gig food delivery work in 2019. And what I've also shared in recent months is that how I have earned at least 75,000 each calendar year since 2020. In 2020, I earned over 75,000. In 2021, I earned over 82,000, and just in 2022, I earned about the same amount, just over 82,000. And not once have I gone around accepting every order across my screen. In fact, since February 2020, that was the last time my acceptance rate had been over 50% on the DoorDash app. My acceptance rate on the DoorDash app is consistently below 20%, and even more so below 10%. Now, my point is that over these 6+ years that I've been involved in the gig economy, I too have evolved. I have evolved from the person who didn't know what I was doing to accepting every ride on the Uber app and Lyft apps, to I was very selective of accepting whatever rides I would do on the Uber and Lyft apps. In fact, I went as far as stacking rides across both apps. The next thing that I evolved from when working gig food delivery apps, namely DoorDash, is that I went from accepting every order in which every metric on the DoorDash app was all green. I mean, I had as high as a 97-98% complete acceptance rate on the DoorDash app, and probably just as high completion rate. I wasn't making any money. I began to make more money when I accepted less orders on the DoorDash app. And I began to make even more money when I began to work multiple apps and stacking multiple orders across multiple apps. And that became a reality during 2020. Unfortunately, but with some people, with a certain faction of folk who are in gig delivery work, they view what I do as being anathema, accursed, even evil. But that's their prerogative. That's their prerogative. It does not bother me. And this is not me bellyaching and complaining about what they're saying about me. Again, this segment of the Gig Geezer is really to the independent contractor, letting you know that what you're doing when you are accepting less orders, knowing that you're going to make more money, it is not something to be ashamed of, because you decline. You don't accept no-tip orders. You don't accept orders below a certain amount. There's no shame with that, because you choose not to mine for carbon crystals. There is no shame in doing that, because you choose not to do earn by time. There's no shame with that, because I believe, at least I will show you examples for myself, I believe over the long haul, accepting less, earning more, working multiple orders across multiple apps, stacking multiple orders across multiple apps, in the long haul, in the long run, that outperforms what these people are doing. They can't. That's something that many of them do not want to admit. In fact, if they were ever to be deactivated, guess what? They would probably be doing the same thing as what we're doing. The fact that you choose not to do what I've just described as what a certain segment of people are doing, you are maintaining your identity as a true independent contractor, a true self-employed business person, as someone who is truly in business for themselves. And when you work multiple apps, when you stack multiple orders across multiple apps, when you decline as many orders as you do, you're showing no allegiance to any single app, because what you're doing is what is best for you. And what matters is what you do at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, and at the end of the year. So again, I say, do not allow these Tony Zhu acolytes to shame you into thinking that what you're doing is wrong. Don't. Now, when you are an employee, it is to your advantage to accept every order that comes across your screen. This was the business model with Bite Squad several years ago. They wore their clown outfit. They actually had access to a company car, and they had to complete whatever order that was assigned to them. But that business model did not work, and they went to the 1099 method, but they have since tried to work their way back into forcing drivers to accept every order, because if you maintain a low acceptance rate, they will deactivate you from the app. And I've shared some content about that here on the Gig Geezer as well. While there are those who choose to accept every order or maintain a high acceptance rate, that is their prerogative. Fine. I mean, you're doing what you feel is best for you. But guess what? Maintaining that status is actually worthless in the business world. You can't sell that status. You can't pass that status on to someone in your family. And from a business standpoint, that status can't get you a business loan or a credit card or a home loan or even a car loan. The status is worthless in the real business world. Much of what I've shared so far has been mentioned in the past or in past segments of the Gig Geezer, but it stands to be repeated in my opinion. Because I work multiple apps and I'm active on at least 15 of them, I don't feel obligated to any single app. In fact, when I'm out here putting on my grind, I go about with a certain degree of confidence, knowing that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I will attain the goals that I have set for myself. So in other words, apps like DoorDash is merely one of many options that I have. You got to look at it that way. When you have few options, DoorDash is this big piece of your puzzle. When you have as many options as I have, DoorDash becomes just one piece among many that you're going to have to make your money. And so here's an example. Here's a more concrete example of how I evolved. There was a time when I thought I needed to complete 9 to 10 DoorDash orders in a single day to accomplish what I want. Now, I don't have to complete as many orders on the DoorDash app because of the options that I've begun to give myself, or I have created for myself over time. And here are a few examples. Today is Wednesday, March 15, 2023. Just this week on Monday, March 13, 2023, I made $314.24. I did not complete a single DoorDash order. Yesterday, Tuesday, March 14, 2023, I made $311.27. I completed only one DoorDash order, and that was a stacked order which went to the same person for $12.50. Now, that means after 2 days of this current work week, I've made more than $625, and only one order has been completed on DoorDash for $12.50. That is roughly 2% of the money that I've made so far this week. An even larger example is last week I made $1,801.90. I did not complete my first DoorDash order until Thursday of last week. Altogether, I completed 5 DoorDash orders. They totaled $80.92. That accounted for roughly 4% of the money that I made last week. And so that fits actually into a strategy that I've been working on since December. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. The strategy that I've been working since December is that I've had a lot of content of late where I've shown of my cargo/sprinter van ownership, and what I've been working on is being less reliant on gig food delivery work. Because I believe that, at least for me, I've reached the ceiling in terms of what I can make doing primarily gig food delivery work. And the only way to get to the next level is to put myself in a position where I am now involving myself in the last mile delivery work. That's where the money is. It's not the gig food delivery work. It's the last mile sector of the gig economy. And so a sprinter/cargo van puts me in that position. It gives me a greater capacity. And while I may still do the DoorDash and the Grubhub and the ubereats, I have a greater capacity to make more money. I have a greater capacity because size equals money. And so when I did primarily when I have done primarily gig food delivery work from 2020 to 2022, I averaged at least $6,000 a month, and I made consistently $6,000 a month. So far in 2023, I am now making at least $7,000 a month, or I'm averaging $7,000 a month. And so that is taking me, that incremental progress is now taking me to the next level. And the next level for me is the next level for me would be making at least $8,250 a month. Making $8,250 a month puts me into making six figures. And once I'm making six figures, I enter into another realm of the financial world, and that is the commercial banking world. And so once I'm entered into commercial banking money, then I can scale my business to do what I really would like to do. So when you're thinking as a true independent contractor, when you're thinking as a true business person, you're going to think beyond DoorDash. You're going to think beyond accepting every order. You're going to think beyond earned by time. You're going to think beyond the mining for carbon crystals, because that is just that's kid stuff compared to what's really out there. And so hopefully what I've shared in this segment of the Gig Geezer may inspire you to expand your thinking, to inspire you to reevaluate your business model to where you can put yourself into doing more for yourself beyond the DoorDash and the Grubhub and the ubereats and all. And with that, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.